Hello everyone, Midnight here, and today I'm going to be doing a slight overview of my an archetype that I've been making for Yu-Gi-Oh! For a little while now. It's called, it's Persona 5 based, the Phantom Thieves. Each card is, I may have made this archetype a little bit too broken, I must say, because, just move over to my, it's the deck, every single card that I've made so far in the archetype. Also, please don't copyright clip this video because I have Persona 5 music playing in the background. So, I have, starting off, we have Phantom Thief Joker. When he's normal or special summoned, you can equip one Persona Arsene to this card. Then during the main phase, you can add one Phantom Thief card from your deck to your hand, except a copy of himself. You can only use it once per turn. So, the gimmick of the Phantom Thieves in general is that when they're normal or special summoned, they equip their respective Persona onto them. So, like for Joker, you equip Arsene to him straight from the deck. You can only equip Arsene to Joker via his effect. You could equip it to hand, but you're not going to. Monster, like if one Joker is equipped with it, it gains the effect that you can send one equip spell equipped to this card to the graveyard to equip one Persona equip spell to this card, ignoring their activation requirement. So essentially, from Arsene, you could equip any of these other Persona cards onto Joker and get their effects. And then, when a monster's effect activates in the hand, you can send one card equipped to this card to the graveyard and negate the activation. One thing I realized about making this deck is that it dies really heavily to Ash Blossom because it can just negate any special summon from the deck, which this deck does happen to do a lot of, or just special summons in general. So having that negation there if you need it is good, and since they can only activate one Ash Blossom per turn, it pretty much helps you get your plays off. Now, Morgana, which is the main first monster you're going to be wanting to normal special summon in this deck, you can equip one Persona Zoro to this card from your hand or deck. During the main phase, you can special summon one Phantom Thief monster from your deck in defense position except Morgana. And it doesn't negate their effects, so you can get their Personas off too. So basically what you want to do is you're going to want to summon Morgana, special summon Joker, get a search, and then possibly do link plays, because I do have a couple link monsters in the deck. And his Persona Zoro. Once per turn, you can special summon one Phantom Thief monster in your graveyard in defense position. So, if you have to discard for an effect, like for example, Awakening, you can spend that monster to the graveyard and then special summon it back later for swarming. Also, once per turn during your end phase, you gain 500 life points. It's just lore because Morgana is also the main healer that you will have in the game. So I decided to just have that there if it's not what you're using Zoro for, you're using it for the revival effect. Next up is Skull, which is a 1900 attack, 1500 defense monster. When normal special summon, you can equip one Persona Captain Kid from your hand or deck with this card. Once per turn, you can make all Phantom Thief monsters you control gain 500 attack for your opponent's next end phase. It's specific to the Phantom Thieves, so you can beat over some things, but for the most part, you're probably not going to be activating this effect. If anything, you're just using it to get Captain Kid out, because you can inflict once per turn, you can inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, and you can also target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. Because once per turn destruction is very nice, and then 1,000 burn. It can be useful if your opponent's low on life points and you just want to get them out. Or just 1,000 burn, it's 1/8 of their life points, which for an effect that's pretty good. Next up, Panther herself. When this card is normal or special summon, you can equip one Persona Carmen from your hand or deck to this card. Once per turn, you can special summon one Phantom Thief monster from your hand in face-up attack position. What this card does is essentially you can if you already have Joker in hand and you don't want to summon him back, you can use Morgana's effect to special summon Panther, and then Panther can special summon Joker from your hand. And you'll be able to do all that other stuff. Persona, Carmen, monster equipped with this card with the following effect. Once per turn, target one monster your opponent controls, negate its effects if it has any, and if you do, this card gains 300 attack until the end phase. So, it's negation, which is always a good thing to have, because you don't want to get screwed over by your opponent's card effects if they have any quick effects that they can activate on your turn to disrupt your board. Assuming you're going second, at least. After that, Fox. It's Cardinal. Special you put 1% of Goemon from your hand or deck to discard. Once per turn, you target one face of monster your opponent controls. Change it to face down defense position, and if you do, banish one card from your graveyard. Like, I'm not 100% sure why I made it as a banish requirement, but because you are doing a lot of banishing in this deck as well, but you can also get them back, not that hard, And then Goemon. Once per turn, you can target up to 2 cards that are banished, shuffle them into the deck, and if you do, send 1 card equipped to this card to the graveyard. Once per turn, quick effect, if the card equipped to this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Phantom Thief monster in the graveyard, shuffle that target into the deck, and if you do, draw 1 card. It's draw power. I'm not sure if I would run it. I'm not even right now running it in my own build because I don't need it. I already have other cards that can bring my banished monsters back and put them into the graveyard so I can use them again. Because using this guy is also going to help. This isn't get them out really quickly because you can in this deck. And then Queen. Cardinal, we're supposed to equip 1% of Johanna from your hand or deck to this card. Once per turn, you can make all Phantom Thief monsters you control unable to be destroyed by card, battle, or card effects this turn. Its protection against battle and card effects, especially combined with Johanna, it makes it a little better. Negate the effects of persona. Negate the effects of monsters destroyed by battle by Phantom Thief or persona monsters you control. Phantom Thief or persona monster you control battles an opponent's monster. You can make your opponent's monster with 300 attack. So if your opponent has any effects that activate upon destruction, or when they're sent to the graveyard, then it will negate that effect and they won't be able to use it. So it can come in handy, but for the most part, I'm not running this either because it's just really combo heavy the way I have it set. So you're able to get off some of the really big monsters like pretty much first turn, because I need to nerf this deck hard because it's already really too good. Alright, Oracle. Since in the game Futaba never actually attacks or like does anything like combat wise, I decided to just make her a pendulum so you can have her in your pendulum zone instead of actually using her monster effect. Which once per turn you can activate this effect. This turn, all Phantom Thief monsters you control cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Added protection, which can be handy, but it does not stop them from targeting your persona monsters, which are every single extra deck monster that you have in the deck. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can equip 1 persona Necronomicon from your hand or deck to this card. You attribute this card to special summon 1 Phantom Thief monster from your deck, but in defense but its effects, if any, are negated. I'm thinking of taking out the negated portion because you're essentially trading out one monster for another, so I don't see the point of negating its effects. Then Noir, which if this card's normal special, you can put. Let's go to the Necronomicon first. This card cannot be targeted for an attack, but it does not prevent your opponent from attacking it directly. If you take battle damage, you can special summon 1 Phantom Thief monster from your hand or graveyard with attack less than or equal to the damage you took. So, since Futaba never actually does any, she is there specifically to support the party and give them stuff like healing, SP regeneration, or other buffs. That's why you cannot target it for an attack because she's high in the sky. What are you gonna do? But yeah, but just so it doesn't get too OP, the opponent can attack you directly. And then the special summon is just an added special summon if you need it, but you're probably never going to actually use it anyway because you're more than likely to put Futaba in your pendulum zone instead. Next, Noir. If this card normal or special summon, you can equip 1 persona Milady from your hand or deck to this card. During your main phase, you can send 1 Phantom Thief or persona card from your deck to the graveyard. And 1 persona card, which any of the equipped spells are going to be what you're going to be ditching, or any of these monsters to special summon off Zoro. And then Persona Milady. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, half its attack, and if you do, this card gains that monster's lost attack. Basically, it's like Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, but it's in a equip card that you're never going to use. Once per turn, you can send 1 or some Vanity monster you control to the graveyard to take control of 1 monster your opponent controls until the end phase, but it cannot attack. Now, this can be useful if you want to just take an opponent's monster to beat him back with it, or not beat him back with it, but you can set it for links. Like, you can probably make any of the Persona Lynx monsters off of it, or if it's level 4, you can't make any of the Xyz monsters though, because they all require Phantom Thieves. Next up is everyone's favorite Backstabber, Crow, or Akechi. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can equip one Persona Robin Hood from your hand or deck to this card. During your main phase, you can target one monster opponent controls, change its attack to 0, and if you do, negate its effects. So this is probably the, like, aside from Morgana or Joker, it's probably the best main deck monster in the archetype. Because it's a free negation, and it also essentially makes any attack to that monster a direct attack, because they have no attack. And then it has, then of course, has its own equip spell, Persona Robin Hood. Once per turn, quick effect, when your opponent activates a card or effect, it's one equip spell card you control to the graveyard to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now the thing with Robin Hood is that if when it's allowed to equip the Crow, it loses the negation effect that it does already have, and is replaced with that other effect. So it's either you have the negation off Robin Hood, or you have the attack reduction and negation from Crow. So if you would rather have a quick effect that's just negation, you can have Robin Hood. But what I would do is I would summon Crow, get Robin Hood, and link Crow with Robin Hood equipped for a copy of the link spell, Link Monster Loki, which allows you to draw if you use Crow's material, but banishing one Robin Hood you control or in your graveyard. And then off to the normal spells, actually, is Metaverse Navigator. And well, all it's treated as a Vanity card. You add one Persona Reality Metaverse from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, except the turn this card was into the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to shuffle up to 2 Persona equip spells in your hand or graveyard into the deck. You want to activate one of these per turn. Persona Reality Metaverse. When this card is activated, you can reveal one Phantom Thief monster in your hand. Special summon it in attack position, but its effects are negated. Until the end phase, once per turn. You can reveal as many possible Persona equip spells in your hand. Shuffle them into the deck, and if you drew one card for each card, shuffle them into the deck this way. All Phantom Thief or Persona monsters you control gain 500 attack. So it essentially allows you to unbreak your hand if you have any of the Persona equips in your hand, because they do kind of break up your hand. Because what else are you going to be using them for? You want to have them in your deck because you can equip them straight from there. Now for easily the most overpowered card in the archetype, Persona Awakening. Discard one card and pay 1,000 minus points. Special summon one Phantom Thief monster from your hand or deck. But for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon any monsters from the graveyard or extra except Persona monsters. Banish it to equip one Persona. We'll target one Phantom Thief monster you control and equip one Persona equip spell from your hand or deck to that card. Hand, deck, or graveyard. That specifically looks at that monster's name and its text. You can only use the effect of Awakening once your turn. Now this is just one way to essentially start your entire combo without actually ever using your normal summon. So it's a very good card, and you want to run 3 of it. Next up is the Safe Room, which until the end phase, all Phantom Thief monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects and cannot be destroyed by battle. And you take no battle damage from battles involving them. This is just kind of protection and more lore, because you're only ever using. This is essentially just kind of skipping your opponent's battle phase. Well, actually, I did actually make another card for it, like just today. So I'm actually gonna go through my custom cards real quick and grab the other one, there it is. All right, Rise of the Phantom Thieves. This is essentially a Salamangreat Roar for Phantom Thieves. It's essentially while you control a Phantom Thief or Persona monster, you can negate any card effect that your answer when it activates. You can use it once per turn, but you can also set it back.